There will always be people who dislike you, not because you're wrong, but because you've stopped fitting into their version of right. The moment you start growing, shining, succeeding, or even just speaking your truth, some people will feel threatened. They'll misunderstand you, misjudge you, maybe even mock you. But remember, the tree that bears fruit is the one that gets the most stones. The brighter the light, the more it attracts the insects. So don't let their hate break you. Let it shape you. Don't let their criticism crush you. Let it cleanse you. Because sometimes being hated for what's right is far better than being loved for what's fake. So today, I want to share something important with you. How to live peacefully, purposefully, and powerfully, even when others hate you. Haters don't actually hate you. They hate something about themselves that they see reflected in you. Sometimes, your confidence reminds them of their insecurity. Your growth reminds them of how stuck they feel. Your happiness reminds them of the joy they lost long ago. And so, instead of healing themselves, they project their pain onto you. When a person can't handle their own emotions, they look for someone to blame. You become an easy target because your light exposes their darkness. It's easier to throw stones than to build a bridge. It's easier to criticize than to change. That's why the more you grow, the more resistance you'll meet, not because you're wrong, but because your progress challenges people who've chosen comfort over courage. Think of it this way. When you walk into a dark room and switch on the light, the insects don't clap. They scatter. Your success, your kindness, your consistency, all of it exposes the insecurities of others who haven't dealt with their pain. So don't be surprised when they start to whisper behind your back. That's where they belong, behind you. Their hate is not a reflection of your failure, it's proof of your influence. The more impact you create, the more reactions you'll generate. Even the greatest souls, from spiritual teachers to world leaders, faced criticism, mockery, and hate, yet they stayed grounded, not because they needed approval, but because they knew who they were. So, when someone hates you, don't let it shake your peace. Let it remind you that you're doing something worth noticing. Their judgment is not your responsibility, your growth is. The louder they speak, the quieter you should become. Because the calmest person in the room always holds the most power. Don't waste your time explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Don't try to convince those who've already decided not to see your truth. Just smile, stay humble, and keep moving forward. In the end, your silence will say what their shouting never could. That you are too focused on your purpose to be distracted by their noise. When people criticize you, mock you, or misunderstand you, remember this, it's not always about you. Most of the time, it's about them. People often speak from their pain, not your truth. What they say reveals their story, not your character. When someone throws negativity your way, it's a reflection of the storm going on inside them. You just happen to be standing in the rain they created. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how happy, peaceful people rarely go around putting others down? Truly content people don't gossip, they don't insult, they don't hate. Because when your heart is full, you don't have space to poison others. Only those who are hurt, jealous, or insecure find comfort in tearing others apart. Their words are just emotional echoes of their own suffering. So, the next time someone talks badly about you or tries to pull you down, don't react immediately. Don't let anger take over. Pause, breathe, and remind yourself, this isn't about me. When you stop taking things personally, you take away their power over you. Because the moment you absorb their words as truth, you let them control your peace. You see, people interpret your actions through the lens of their own experiences. If they've been betrayed before, they'll see deceit where there's honesty. If they fail to love themselves, they'll see arrogance where there's confidence. Everyone looks at life through their own emotional mirror. So, when they misunderstand you, it's simply their reflection they're seeing, not you. If someone calls you selfish because you started prioritizing your mental health, that's not your problem. It's their inability to understand boundaries. If someone calls you arrogant because you stopped apologizing for your worth, it's not arrogance, it's self-respect. Don't shrink yourself to fit into the smallness of their perception. You are not obligated to make everyone comfortable with your truth. Remember, even the purest water looks distorted when seen through a cracked glass. Similarly, no matter how good your intentions are, they can look wrong to someone whose heart is clouded with negativity. That's why your goal should never be to please everyone. Your goal should be to live with integrity and peace. So, when criticism comes, don't take it personally. Instead of asking, why are they saying this about me? Ask, what might they be going through? That shift in perspective changes everything. You move from reacting to understanding. You move from anger to empathy. And that's when you truly become powerful. When you realize that their hate, their judgment, and their gossip have nothing to do with your value. People can only see you from the level of their awareness. Let them talk, let them assume, let them hate, while you keep walking with grace, because your peace is too precious to be traded for someone else's projection. Silence is not weakness. It's wisdom in motion. It's the calm voice of strength that refuses to engage in noise. When people attack you, provoke you, or try to pull you into their chaos, silence is your greatest power. It's not about ignoring them out of pride. It's about protecting your energy from what doesn't deserve it. You see, not every action requires a reaction. Not every insult deserves an answer. Sometimes silence speaks the loudest truth, that you are at peace with yourself. When you remain silent in the face of negativity, you're not surrendering, you're rising above. It takes far more courage to stay still than to argue. Anyone can shout, but only the wise can stay silent. When someone tries to drag you into an argument, they want control. They want your attention, your reaction, your energy. The moment you respond emotionally, they've succeeded. But when you smile and stay silent, you've taken their power away. You've shown them that their words have no control over your peace. Think about the ocean. When someone throws a stone into it, it doesn't stop being the ocean. It ripples for a moment and then it returns to calm. Be like that. Let your emotions ripple for a second, but always come back to your peace. The calmer you are, the clearer your vision becomes. Because silence doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough about your inner balance not to let anger ruin it. People often mistake silence for guilt. But silence doesn't mean you're wrong. It means you're wise enough to know that truth doesn't need to shout. When you know who you are, you don't need to explain yourself. Time will speak for you. Truth has its own voice, steady, patient, unshakable. Those who misunderstand you now will see one day that your silence wasn't weakness, it was grace. When others gossip, let them. When they insult, let them. When they try to stir your peace, let them. Because silence destroys them more than any reply ever could. It confuses them. It disarms them. They expect a reaction, and when they don't get it, they start to question their own behavior. That's the power of silence. It holds up a mirror to their noise. Remember, even the wind can't disturb the mountain. The mountain doesn't fight the storm, it endures it. Your silence is that endurance, the quiet knowing that you don't need to prove yourself to anyone. Sometimes, walking away from a fight isn't cowardice, it's maturity. Because peace is more valuable than being right. There's a quiet kind of strength in people who no longer feel the need to argue. They've learned that truth doesn't need defending, that not every battle is worth fighting, that sometimes silence is not about giving up, it's about choosing peace over pride. So the next time someone pushes your buttons, smile gently and say nothing, because silence is not the absence of a response, it's the presence of control. It means you are no longer living at the level of reaction. You are living at the level of understanding. And that's where real power begins. When life puts you in situations where people question who you are, criticize your choices, or try to make you feel guilty for walking your path, the easiest thing to do is to start doubting yourself. You begin to wonder, am I wrong? Should I change? Should I act differently so they accept me? But the truth is, you should never change who you are just to earn approval from those who don't understand your journey. Because the moment you trade your values for validation, you lose the most precious thing you have, your peace. Staying rooted in your values means holding on to what defines you, even when the world around you shakes. It means remembering what truly matters to you: kindness, honesty, love, compassion, integrity, and not letting temporary opinions destroy those eternal qualities. The wind of criticism will always blow, but trees that have deep roots don't fall. The same is true for you. When your roots, your values, go deep, no amount of hate can uproot your spirit. There will always be pressure to fit in. Society will tell you, don't be too different, don't speak too loudly, don't dream too big. People might even say, you've changed, when in reality, you've simply grown. They'll call you selfish for setting boundaries, arrogant for being confident, or heartless for putting your peace first. But you cannot live your life based on what everyone else thinks is right. You must live based on what you know is true. You see, the world doesn't reward authenticity immediately, but it respects it eventually. Those who criticize you today will one day admire your consistency. Those who mocked you for being different will eventually realize you were right to stay true. But that realization will take time. Until then, you must walk with courage, even when it's lonely. Because walking alone with truth is always better than walking with a crowd that has lost its way. Staying rooted doesn't mean being stubborn, it means being centered. It means knowing who you are and not allowing external voices to define your internal worth. It means being kind without being weak, confident without being arrogant, humble without being submissive. It's finding that beautiful balance between strength and softness. A balance that only those with strong roots can hold. Sometimes your silence, your discipline, your refusal to gossip, your decision to take the high road will make people uncomfortable. They'll say, you've changed. And you can gently smile and think, yes, I've grown beyond needing their approval. Because you're not here to impress anyone. You're here to live in alignment with your purpose. The truth is, it's impossible to stand tall without having roots. A building without foundation collapses at the first shake. A person without values breaks at the first insult. Your values, honesty, faith, patience, compassion, these are your foundation. Never trade them for likes, attention, or temporary validation. The people who truly love you will love you for your values, not despite them. So, when the world challenges your integrity, stay calm. When people test your patience, stay centered. When they provoke you to react, stay grounded, because storms don't last forever, but your roots will. And when the storm passes, those who bent with the wind will look up and see you, still standing strong, still rooted, still at peace. In the end, staying true to your values isn't about proving yourself to others. It's about proving to yourself that you can remain pure in a world that constantly tries to make you otherwise. That's real strength. Not the strength to fight others, but the strength to not lose yourself while they do. When people hate you, criticize you, or doubt you, it's easy to feel discouraged. It's easy to let their negativity seep into your heart and make you question your worth. But here's the truth. You can't stop people from throwing stones, but you can choose what to build with them. You can build a wall of defense and hide behind it. Or you can build a staircase and rise above it. Turning hate into fuel means transforming pain into power, using the negativity of others as motivation to grow stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. Every time someone says, "You can't," let it remind you that you can. Every insult, every doubt, every rejection, let it become the fire that pushes you to rise higher. Don't fight their hate with hate. Let your progress be your response. Let your success speak for itself. Because the most powerful revenge is not anger. It's evolution. It's becoming so good, so peaceful, and so focused that their words lose meaning. When someone hates you, it's like they're handing you a gift of energy. You can either waste that energy by arguing, or you can redirect it toward your growth. When they criticize you, they're actually revealing where your strength lies. No one attacks what's weak. People attack what's strong, what's shining, what's noticeable. So if you're being hated, understand. It's not because you're failing, but because you're rising. You're becoming something they can't ignore. Think about a rocket. It faces the most resistance when it's taking off. The higher it goes, the thinner the air becomes, and the less resistance it feels. The same happens in life the moment you start lifting yourself above the ordinary. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, resistance shows up. People will question your motives, doubt your abilities, and mock your dreams. But once you break through that initial atmosphere of negativity, you'll find peace, focus, and clarity. So don't be afraid of the pressure. It's proof that you're elevating. Let their hate remind you of who you're becoming. Let it test your patience, strengthen your humility, and sharpen your focus. Because sometimes, without resistance, we'd never grow. Without opposition, we'd never learn endurance. And without criticism, we'd never develop inner strength. The very people who try to bring you down unknowingly help you rise. They become silent teachers, teaching you resilience, patience, and grace. But turning hate into fuel doesn't mean pretending it doesn't hurt. It's okay to feel the pain. It's okay to cry, to be disappointed, to question why people treat you unfairly. But don't stay there. Feel it, learn from it, and then channel it. Turn it into action, into purpose. Use that emotional fire to drive your goals, to deepen your discipline, to remind yourself that you're stronger than the opinions of others. Remember, diamonds are created under pressure. Gold is purified through fire. The stronger the resistance, the more beautiful the outcome. So when you face negativity, Don't run from it, refine yourself through it. Instead of saying, "Why me?" start saying, "Try me." Let every insult be a reminder of how much potential you still have left to unlock. Let every challenge shape your character instead of breaking your spirit. One day, the same people who doubted you will have to respect the person you've become. But by then, you won't even care about their validation, because you'll have learned the greatest lesson of all, that hate only has power if you feed it, and love for yourself, love for your purpose, will always burn brighter than any bitterness the world throws at you. So keep shining, keep growing, keep rising, because every time someone tries to dim your light, the universe is giving you another chance to glow even brighter. When someone hurts you, when they betray your trust, speak against you, or treat you unfairly, your first instinct is to get angry. You want to fight back, prove them wrong, or make them feel the pain they caused you. It's natural. But here's the truth. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. The more you hold on to it, the more it eats away at your peace. Forgiveness is not about saying, "What they did is okay." It's about saying, "I deserve peace, and I refuse to carry this burden any longer." When you pray for those who hurt you, you're not just doing something noble, you're doing something powerful. You're taking back control of your heart, because hatred is a chain. It ties you to the person who hurt you. It keeps you connected to their negativity. And every time you replay the pain in your mind, every time you think about revenge, you're tightening that chain. Forgiveness is the act of breaking it, not for them but for you. There's a quiet kind of freedom that comes from letting go. The moment you stop wishing pain on someone who caused you pain, your soul begins to heal. You stop living in reaction and start living in peace. People often think forgiveness means forgetting, but it doesn't. It means remembering without bitterness. It means being able to look back at the past and say, "Yes, it hurt me, but it no longer controls me." Think of a wound on your skin. If you keep touching it, it won't heal. But if you leave it alone, clean it, and care for it gently, it will close naturally. The same goes for emotional wounds. When you constantly revisit the hurt, it stays open. But when you choose forgiveness, you allow healing to begin. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a process, sometimes slow, sometimes painful, but always freeing. Forgiveness doesn't mean letting someone back into your life. It doesn't mean trusting them again. It means releasing them from the emotional space they occupy inside you. You can forgive and still keep your distance. You can forgive and still protect your peace. Because forgiveness is not about them. It's about you reclaiming your heart. When you pray for those who hurt you, something miraculous happens. Your heart starts to soften. You begin to understand that hurt people. They acted out of their own wounds, fears, or ignorance. That doesn't excuse their behavior, but it explains it. Compassion begins to replace anger. You begin to see that maybe they were doing the best they could with the awareness they had. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with stones, each stone representing a grudge, a betrayal, a disappointment. Every step becomes harder. You get tired, bitter, and drained. Forgiveness is like setting that backpack down. You realize you don't have to carry it anymore. You can walk lighter, breathe deeper, and smile again. There is incredible strength in being able to wish well for someone who tried to break you. It's not weakness, it's divine power. Because when you let go of hate, you rise above what they did to you. You stop being a victim of your past and become the master of your peace. That's the moment you win. Not when they apologize, or not when karma visits them, but when you can look at the wound and say, I'm grateful for what it taught me. Sometimes the people who hurt you are also your greatest teachers. They teach you patience, resilience, boundaries, and self-love. They show you what you will never tolerate again. They help you grow stronger and wiser. So, instead of asking, why did they hurt me? Ask, what is this pain trying to teach me? That question turns suffering into strength. When you forgive, you don't erase the past, you redefine it. You turn your scars into symbols of survival. And in that transformation, you find freedom. You find yourself. Because the moment you stop fighting the darkness, you become the light. And the people who once tried to break you, they no longer have any power. So pray for them, not because they deserve your kindness, but because you deserve your peace. Let go, release, move on. And as you do, you'll realize that forgiveness isn't something you give to others. It's the greatest gift you could ever give to yourself. There will be times in your life when no matter how good you are, no matter how kind, humble, or well-intentioned you try to be, people will still misunderstand you. They will question your motives, twist your words, and overlook your efforts. You might do something purely from the heart, and yet someone will still find a way to criticize it. And that's when the real test begins, the test of your character, your patience, and your faith. Because in those moments, your job is simple but not easy. Keep doing good anyway. Doing good is easy when people appreciate you, clap for you, and praise your efforts. But when they mock you, ignore you, or take you for granted, that's when doing good becomes an act of strength. It takes immense maturity to keep smiling when you're not understood, to keep helping when you're not thanked, and to keep loving when you're not loved back. But those who can still choose kindness in the face of cruelty, they are the true warriors of peace. Sometimes we do good expecting recognition, and when we don't get it, we feel hurt. But the moment you attach your goodness to someone else's approval, it stops being pure. True goodness is unconditional. It comes from the soul, not the ego. You do it because it's right, not because it's noticed. You forgive because you know bitterness is poison, not because the other person said sorry. You show kindness because that's who you are, not because you'll get something in return. There's an old saying, the sun doesn't stop shining because people are blind. The sun shines anyway. Whether someone praises it or curses it, whether someone hides from it or stands beneath it, it still gives light. Be like that. Don't stop doing good just because someone couldn't see your light. Because your goodness is not about them. It's about you staying true to your nature. Even when people hurt you, do good. When they gossip about you, do good. When they misunderstand you, do good. Because your actions are seeds, and the universe is always keeping count. You may not see the harvest today, but one day your goodness will come back to you, sometimes through blessings, sometimes through peace, and sometimes through opportunities you never imagined. You see, every act of goodness creates a ripple. When you choose kindness instead of anger, you're changing the energy of the world around you. You might not see the impact immediately, but someone somewhere is being inspired by your example. You never know how many hearts your small act of compassion might touch. That's the beauty of goodness. It multiplies quietly. And yes, doing good will sometimes hurt. It will feel unfair when people misuse your kindness or take your silence as weakness. But don't let that change who you are. Because if their hatred can make you bitter, then they win. If their negativity can make you cold, then they've succeeded in taking away your warmth. Don't give them that power. Keep your heart soft even when the world tries to harden it. Think of a flower that grows through concrete. It doesn't complain about the harshness of the ground, it just grows anyway. It finds its way toward the light. The world may step on it, but it still gives beauty and fragrance. Be that flower. Let the world be rough, you stay gentle. Let others be loud, you stay calm. Let them hate, you love anyway. There's a silent strength in people who keep doing good without needing applause. Their peace comes from knowing they've done their part. They don't chase appreciation, they rest in purpose. And when you live that way, you'll find that doing good is not a burden. It's freedom. Freedom from needing anyone's validation. Freedom from resentment. Freedom from the noise of comparison. So, keep doing good anyway. Not for the world, not for the praise, but for your soul. Because every time you choose kindness in a cruel world, you heal a small part of it. Every time you forgive instead of retaliating, you make the world a little lighter. And every time you act with love, when it would be easier to hate, you prove that goodness still exists, and it begins with you.